First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WUFT News First at 5. I'm Tyler Carmona.
And I'm Chris Will. Thank you so much for joining us. A developing story out of Gainesville, a 13-year-old boy is in critical condition with life-threatening injuries. The biker was hit on the corner of Northwest 13th Street and Northwest 44th Avenue. A GPD statement says the biker was hit by the front passenger side of the car. Authorities say the driver was traveling north when the biker pulled out in front of them. Law enforcement arrived on the scene around 7:30 last night, but residents of the community tell WFT News that it didn't take long for them to realize just how serious the situation was.
I saw a lot of police lights, and even when I turned on the next road, I saw car damage. I knew how big of an issue is when about 3 hours later I stepped out to my truck to get something, and they were still here.
Mary lives right off 13th Street on 44th Avenue. She says she encourages bikers to wear bright colors at night and make sure they wear a helmet. The investigation into the accident remains ongoing, and the child remains at UF Health Shands, where he is in life-threatening condition.
In Nashville, the district attorney announces criminal charges against officers recently fired over the death of a man who ran from a traffic stop. As NBC's Jay Gray reports, prosecutors say the officers severely beat Tyree Nichols when they caught up with him.
We all want the same thing. We want justice for Tyree Nichols.
5 recently fired Memphis police officers now murder suspects in the beating death of Tyree Nichols.
In a word, it's absolutely appalling. Let me be clear. What happened here does not at all reflect proper policing. This was wrong. This was criminal.
The men face a string of felony charges, including second-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, and assault. During a traffic stop just blocks from his home, Nichols was involved in 2 confrontations with police and died 3 days later from his injuries. The chief of police in Memphis has called her former officer's actions heinous, reckless, and inhumane. Nichols' family and attorneys have seen police video of the incident and described the alleged attack as savage. The 29-year-old reportedly tased, pepper sprayed, restrained, hit, and kicked. His mother says she had to turn away.
I didn't need to see a video to see what they did. I saw him in person where my son had lumps on his head and his neck was broke and his head was so swollen until it was starting to split open. That was enough for me to see as his mother.
The video is expected to be released publicly tomorrow evening. Law enforcement agencies in the Memphis area and across the country now watching the situation closely while preparing for the possibility of protest and unrest. Jay Gray, NBC News.
Authorities are accusing 3 nursing schools in South Florida with basically selling thousands of fake diplomas. The feds called the investigation Operation Nightingale as they looked for evidence that 3 schools sold fake transcripts to help students sit for exams, secure licenses, and obtain nursing jobs. The 3 schools are Sacred Heart Institute in Fort Lauderdale, Siena College of Health in Lauderhill, and the Palm Beach School of Nursing in West Palm Beach. Prosecutors claim the schools basically sold 7,000 diplomas in recent years, netting them more than $100 million. At least 25 people will face criminal charges.
A fire broke out this afternoon in a Gainesville apartment complex. Crews from Alachua County Fire Rescue were called to a fire in a 2-story building in Holly Heights around 2 p.m. The building was evacuated and no one was injured. 3 adults and 4 children have since been displaced, though, and are working with Red Cross to get accommodations. ACFR urges the community to check their smoke detectors monthly and change their batteries twice a year.
We saw a little bit of rain yesterday, but it was nice to see some sun today.
It was. If you're able to walk outside, you might want to bundle up, though. WFT's Derrah joins us now with the chilly details.
In the past 24 hours, we've seen almost a 20-degree drop in temperature here in Gainesville, with things feeling a lot less drastic as you get closer to Tallahassee. In place above our area is some dry air following behind that cold front, which is causing our temperatures to fall faster and further, and also leading to the lack of clouds we saw in the sky earlier today. And even right now, still no clouds in the sky. Temperatures are in the upper 50s right now, but will be cooling down into the upper 40s after sunset tonight, and overnight tonight we'll be getting into the 30s. I'll have more on that as well as your weekend forecast coming up. Back to you.
Putnam County School District's novice teacher retention program has been rebounding since the pandemic. WFT reporter Ashley Weinstein joins us in studio to talk about these retention numbers. Ashley, how are these numbers improving, and how is the program doing now?
Tyler, I was at Putnam County School District all morning learning about how this program has been a success story for new teacher retention. I covered this program during the pandemic at a time where numbers were falling. A year later, the program's success is growing again. Putnam County School District is committed to new teacher retention. School officials never turn their back on vetted instructors.
We really focus a lot on our novice teachers with our mentor program. But we also have to focus on our teachers who have been here, who have stuck it out through the ups and downs of everything that public education goes through.
The program allows teachers new to the district an opportunity to integrate into their new role.
Talk about the 3 types of text structures.
Former highly experienced teachers mentor the program.
Marcos knows his country well.
To improve morale post-pandemic, faculty received a pay increase.
We did one round in October, and that really targeted anyone who worked with us before and then they were still with us in October. They got $1,000 at that time.
In 2017, Putnam County School District was retaining 65% of its new teachers with 0 to 3 years experience. That is the year they also opened their novice teacher retention program. In the 2019 to 2020 school year, they were retaining 93% of their new teachers. However, that number dropped to 85% during the pandemic. I spoke with school officials earlier today that say in the 2021-2022 school year, they were rebounded back to retaining 90% of their new teachers.
Just since December, we have added 12 new teachers, December through January. It's just important that we're always recruiting to make that fill rate 100%.
Get started.
As of this month, 98% of the open positions in Putnam schools are full. I do wonder if the program will be able to get back to 93% retention, its post-COVID record. School administrators, however, say they are happy with the new teacher retention being 90% or above. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Ashley. It's a big night for school teachers in Alachua County. The district will announce which one of 3 finalists is the County Teacher of the Year. Lily Marie Gore is a finalist among elementary schools. She won the countywide honor in 2018, but she's now teaching at Sidney Lanier. The middle school finalist is Richard Thomas, a math and science teacher who's now the dean at Kanapaha Middle School. And for the high school level, it's Karen Kearney, who has spent the last 21 years at Buchholz.
When we come back, we'll discuss a new bill introduced by a Florida congresswoman.
And Governor DeSantis is under fire after his administration blocks a high school course. Find out what the course entails and how the community members are fighting back after the break.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis may face a lawsuit after his decision to block a new advanced placement course. Civil rights attorney Ben Crum says he's prepared to sue Governor DeSantis in the fight to keep AP African American Studies in schools. DeSantis' administration wrote a letter to the college board this month detesting the course. He attended a press conference yesterday along with 3 AP Honors high school students and several Florida legislators.
We're here to give notice to Governor DeSantis that if he does not negotiate with the college board to allow AP African American Studies to be taught in the classrooms across the state of Florida, that these 3 young people will be the lead plaintiffs in a historic lawsuit.
Florida education officials stated that this course goes against Florida law, but did not specify what conduct the state found objectionable.
The Herbert Hoover Dike in Lake Okeechobee has finally been rehabilitated after a 15-year construction process. A ribbon cutting was held to celebrate its completion. Senator Marco Rubio contributed to securing funding for the project. He visited the site with then-President Donald Trump in 2019. Several members of his staff attended the ribbon cutting in his place. The rehabilitation is expected to prevent the kind of catastrophic flooding that killed thousands in the 1928 Okeechobee hurricane. It will also allow Lake Okeechobee to be run on a more detailed management schedule.
Florida Congresswoman Kat Cammack introduces a new bill to Congress. The bill, H.R. 277, has 179 co-sponsors and aims to reassert Congress's legislative authority. Any major rule proposed by a federal agency would have to be approved by both the House and the Senate. The government has spent $309 billion on regulations just in the past 2 years. Cammack intends to limit executive overreach by eliminating unnecessary legislations. The bill was originally introduced in March of 2021 during the 117th Congress. It's feeling a little more chilly outside today.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't forget my jacket when I left my apartment. But Derrah, is it similar tomorrow? What should we expect?
It is looking pretty similar to tomorrow. Yesterday we have a passing cold front knocking temperatures down about 20 degrees. I'll have more on the cooler temps and a look at your weekend coming up.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Employees from the National Weather Service came to Gainesville last night to teach citizens about severe weather. The National Weather Service created a program called Skywarn to get critical weather information from local communities. The program trains the public on how to spot severe weather, such as hail and funnel clouds. It has been active since the 1970s and has recruited over 350,000 trained volunteers. The class took place in the Alachua County Emergency Management Office last night. And if you're interested in attending the next free class in April, visit weather.gov/JAX for more information. And speaking of spotting storms, WFT forecaster Derrah is here to tell us if we should plan for any upcoming showers. Derrah.
We've seen some gorgeous blue skies today, and we are still seeing gorgeous blue skies. Hopefully there's a nice sunset this evening. Temperatures are in the upper 50s, and in the past 24 hours, our temperatures have dropped almost 20 degrees, with things feeling a lot less drastic near Tallahassee. Our highest temperature so far today, 61 in Gainesville, upper 60s along the southeast coast. We're experiencing some northwesterly winds moving cooler air through our area, and wind speeds have been almost 20 miles per hour here in Gainesville. This evening, we'll be seeing a light breeze this evening, and we'll be cooling down as that sun begins to set. Mostly clear skies overnight tonight. Upper 30s, 37 in Gainesville, and upper 30s, almost 40 by the Villages. Tomorrow, you'll be seeing temperatures pretty similar to what we saw today. 60 in Gainesville and upper 50s to the south near Cedar Key. Tomorrow, we'll be seeing sunny skies and a light wind begin to pick up during the afternoon. We'll be also seeing cooler temperatures tomorrow, pretty similar to what we're going to see tonight. 38 in Gainesville and 32 is freezing, so there is that chance for some patchy frost to develop tomorrow night through early Saturday morning. The rest of this week, we'll be seeing cooler days on Friday and Saturday. There is that chance of rain on Sunday, increasing Sunday night going into Monday. Things are looking back to normal next week with temperatures in the upper 70s on Sunday and Monday, and we'll be back into the 80s by mid to late next week. Back to you.
As you can guess, we send members of our sports team to a lot of different venues, from small towns around Gainesville to bowl games and tournament action all around the country. But it's not very often that someone draws a Paris assignment. It happened this month for WFT sports reporters Shailey, Klein, and Cristina, Santiago. Here's a look at what they experienced.
Rolling. NBA champion Tony Parker and former Chicago Bulls player Joakim Noah were two of the many former NBA players in attendance for this highly anticipated matchup. The goal? To promote the NBA's mission of globalizing basketball.
I'm Shailey Klein.
And I'm Cristina Santiago. That's us, walking by the Eiffel Tower.
We're majoring in sports journalism at the University of Florida.
Go Gators!
That's us with Gator great Joakim Noah.
We traveled to Paris to cover the social and cultural impacts of an international NBA game. Former Florida head coach Billy Donovan led his Chicago Bulls to victory over the Detroit Pistons.
The action on the hardwood was nothing compared to the compassion off the court. Bulls and Pistons players and staff ran free basketball clinics through NBA Cares.
Children smiled and played with their NBA favorites.
Bringing people together through basketball,
that's the goal.
NBA Cares is one of my favorite things to do. I love giving back to the community.
It's everything, obviously. We play this game, and basketball is an international sport, so obviously we got to give. If it was up to me, we give back to everybody in the world.
Bringing people together through basketball,
that's the goal.
For me personally, I think it's an incredible thing how a little orange ball can bring an entire country and everybody, bring the whole world together. For one common goal, which is the game of basketball that everybody loves.
With this game in Paris, the NBA has impacted roughly 20,000 French youth. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says that he considers basketball to be a force that creates commonality, empathy, and most importantly, unity. Reporting from Paris, I'm Cristina Santiago.
And I'm Shailey Klein, WUFT News.
Coming up next on WFT News, the Florida men's basketball team dominated last night against South Carolina.
Yeah, that's right. The Gators won their second straight and will look for more as they face former Gator Keontae Johnson at Kansas State. And the start of Gator baseball season is inching closer and closer. All that and more coming up after the break.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Hello, I'm Ellie, Shreve, and welcome to sports. The Florida men's basketball team took care of business last night in dominant fashion, defeating South Carolina 81-60. The Gators came out blazing offensively in the first half, scoring 34 points on 45% shooting. 4 Gators recorded double-digit points, with Colin Castleton leading the way with 18 points. Fifth-year guard Myron Jones posted a career night in his third straight start, recording 9 points, 8 assists, and 10 rebounds. Florida has now won back-to-back games against SEC opponents. They'll look to gain their third straight win this Saturday when they face former Gator Keontae Johnson at Kansas State. The start of the Gators' 2023 baseball season is inching closer and closer. This weekend, fans will have their first look at this year's team as Florida holds 3 open practices and scrimmages. The team was ranked number 3 by Baseball America in their preseason poll and number 7 by D1 Baseball. The Gators will open up the regular season at home on February 17th against Charleston Southern. Florida Gymnastics is on the verge of history heading into their meet tomorrow night against Georgia. The number 2 ranked Gators will look to set the SEC regular season undefeated streak record. With a win over Georgia, the Gators will have competed in 25 meets without a loss, breaking Georgia's 1982 record of 24. They'll look to make the Gators faithful proud as they take on the Bulldogs on Alumni Night. The meet is set to start at 5:45 p.m. Speaking of history, the Santa Fe College women's basketball team helped their coach reach a special milestone last night. The Saints defeated Florida State College at Jacksonville last night 59-54 in a tightly contested affair. Clutch free throw shooting decided this one as head coach Chanda Stebbins earned her 300th career win. The Saints have now won 3 straight and they'll go for another one this Saturday against Eastern Florida State College. High school boys and girls basketball is back in action tonight. Taking a look first at the boys' side, Newberry will play Westport and Oak Hall will head to Keystone Heights. Meanwhile, Trenton will take on Bell and Union County will play against Dixie County. And for the girls, Buchholz will take on Vanguard while Orlando Jones travels to Gainesville. Chiefland will head to Taylor County, PK Young at Westport, and Bradford versus Trinity Catholic. That's all for sports, and back to the desk.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
This weekend, mostly sunny skies on Friday. At Friday night, developing a patchy frost into early Saturday morning, and then sunny skies after that. Sunday, there is a chance for some showers and storms with your daytime high almost 80 degrees. The rest of this week, we'll have a chilly 2 days on Friday and Saturday. There is the chance for rain to develop Sunday and Monday, and temperatures back into the 80s next week. Back to you.
Thanks, Derrah. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But remember, your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a great night.